What's good? What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Muthana, and welcome to another great edition of Good Friends, Better Rivals. Today, we're going to be talking through a great week for both teams. Both teams came away with victories, one in dramatic fashion and one in old, sloppy, weather delayed fashion. But without further ado, to take us through the great victories of this week is none other than my right hand man. It is none other than Caleb. Caleb, how are you, bro? Caleb, man, watching the Cowboys.
Not all us, not all us Mexicans look. Not all of us Mexicans look the same.
That's
But
not where
first
I was
off,
going. You did
now
not have to do
first
that.
off,
You did
first
not have
off,
to do that. You did not have
that
to
was
do
a.
that.
It wasn't a great win by the Cowboys. Okay, let's be honest. Okay,
All
that
right.
the game shouldn't even been that close. But for everybody that wanted it out there, you got your wish. It's me and Ferris. What's going on? How's everybody doing today?
All right, guys, there it is right there. Caleb is on assignment in Dallas this week, so I had to bring up the man, the team that they faced this week, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sunday night was actually pushed back about an hour because of thunder and I think lightning and rain in Pittsburgh. So it was pushed back to that. So it was kind of dictated by that. The weather, it was kind of rainy, it was kind of sloppy, it was kind of a little, it's old school football, man. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Running was a key. Dak did have over 350 yards passing. That is true. But overall, shout out to Rico Dado. He kind of really showed up and had a great game. He's kind of taking the job now from Ezekiel Elliott. When you give him the opportunity, he had 86 yards on the day. No touchdowns though, but he did have 86 yards. Created a balanced running attack. But before we break it down a little bit more, shout out to the people in the chat. Shout out to you, Reg. Reg. I know you got my little comment in my WNBA video. That was for you, baby. That was for you. Speaking of the WNBA, the Minnesota Lynx won last night after a great comeback.
Oh,
and
yeah, big comeback.
Man, yeah, if I'll say this, man, if y'all were too busy watching anything else instead of that game, y'all don't like sports. Y'all just being stupid. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, I said it because that game was amazing.
Brianna Stewart with a big free throw miss.
Yeah, my God, that was. I was sad and happy at the same time because that's my girl. I love Stewie. Stewie's my homie, but
yeah,
the Lynx on my team. You know what I mean? So like,
well, I will shout out Ferris right now. Because go back when me and him did a video on the WNBA, and I know we're talking football. Go back and he's actually predict the playoffs perfectly. He is perfect right now. And if the Lynx win, Ferris picked the whole playoff perfect.
Yeah, I did. That's all I gotta say.
Shout out to Ferris. Today, I'm gonna give you the love when you got it right.
I'm an oracle. I'm not saying I'm an oracle, but I'm perfect. That's all I gotta say. You know what I mean? Shout out to the main man, Leo. Shout out to Leo. Yo, Leo.
What's up, Leo?
Brother. Yeah, I'm that. Caleb's dead. Caleb's in Dallas right now. Leo, are you also in Dallas or are you still in Vegas? I don't know. Did Caleb go by himself? I don't understand. You know what I mean? Reg saw it, and Reg is gonna say what you say. It's rigged.
What you saying is rigged. No, Ferris called it out. He said this is gonna be a tough game. This is gonna be a tough game. Things like that. He called it perfectly. He's called it perfectly so far. So
okay. So let's get right to the show. We're probably going to get you more and more the Pittsburgh aspect of it because, you're not a Cowboys fan, of course. So the Pittsburgh aspect of it. What did they do? What did Dallas do to mitigate your impact in your pursuit of victory? Do you think that they
didn't do anything? They didn't do anything. To be honest with you, if you go back to the show when me and Caleb were talking, we told you exactly how Dallas will win and how Pittsburgh will win. Pittsburgh needed Harrison to run the ball effectively. He had only 40. Sorry, Harris. He only had 42 yards in the game. We had a total a little bit. Was 69, 73, 82 yards. 92 or 82? No, 92. 92 yards running. And 15, and some of that was from our quarterback. Like you said in the beginning, it was a sloppy. It was raining. It was thunder. It was lightning. All that stuff. You needed to run the ball this game. Our defense was taking care of Dallas. You can look at the 352 yards. But you look at who that 352 yards went. It was spread around. They didn't score touchdowns on us. When you think a quarterback has 352 yards, you're going to automatically assume they must have had 3 or 4 touchdowns. He didn't. He had 2 interceptions. Okay,
they had 2 touchdowns.
They had 2 touchdowns, but but those touchdowns came late. That the last touchdown came late, came at the last second. So really, he had 1 touchdown. We kept him in check. Dak was in check the whole game. Okay, CeeDee Lamb only had, I believe, 57 yards, if I'm correct, 57 or 60. It was CeeDee Lamb had 62 yards. He was in check. Okay, what Caleb said and me said last week when talking about this game was if Dallas could run the ball on Pittsburgh, they were going to be successful. Now the running back didn't have a lot of yards, but he had 87 yards by himself. Okay, and coupled with 17 from Ezekiel Elliott, you're at 100. You're at 104 yards. Pittsburgh didn't even get close to that. The running back, we couldn't run the ball, and then you kind of handcuff Justin Fields with what he was doing because there's drama going on with George Pickens.
Yes,
and you wasted you wasted a deep, because if you think about it, Ferris, if we're being honest with ourselves, up until that last touchdown, the defense held Dak in check. The defense was able to dictate the game, and then you as an offense go out there and do nothing, and you barely put 17 points on the board. You're wasting the defense there.
Well, yeah,
and even then, Roberts makes a great play to knock the ball out on the goal line, and he had a chance to recover, and he didn't get the recovery. But you're down to 1 second, and you have a defense that's tired, that's out there because your offense hasn't done anything. It's a frustrating game for us.
Right, with Leo, you guys couldn't do anything with all the mistakes Dallas did. Dallas had a lot of mistakes. You guys couldn't capitalize on them because your offense. Your offense can you doing with, and it goes to a couple of years ago when we had Wink Martindale as our offensive coordinator, our defensive coordinator, and our defense was playing very well. It was very good. We led the league in turnovers. We were awesome, right? But the problem is, it doesn't matter how great your defense is. If your offense can't sustain drives, your defense will be always on the field, and you will. At the end of the day, like we talk about how these people are superhuman and blah blah blah. They get tired like us. They are humans. T.J. Watt may look like a man cut out of granite, but he's still a human. He gets tired, and especially due to the fact that he has muscles. Muscles get tired faster, and they weigh on you. That's the one thing people don't understand. Like a lot of these dudes, man, they're buff, and when they get tired, the muscles get fatigued. They're carrying a lot of muscle mass, and they weigh more. So it's what I mean, and they're tired, and it's draggy. Like that's what I always say. Like the worst thing a tired defense wants to see at the end of the game is Derrick Henry in his prime. For years, Tennessee, every year, they had a game plan. Tire the defense out, and at the end of the game, tell Derrick Henry to batter them. And that's why Tennessee had a tremendous success with him. And that's what happened. When the defense is always on the field, they're always on the field, and you can't sustain drives. You don't even have to score every drive. You have to sustain drives, long drives. You know what I mean? Like the 2000s Ravens, right? One of the greatest defenses of all time, right? The 2002 Buccaneers, one of the greatest defenses of all time. Their offenses, they're not really a lot to run home about. Baltimore had Trent Dilfer and Jamal Lewis. Shout out to Jamal Lewis and Shannon Sharp, but it's Trent Dilfer. But their offense, they knew what they wanted to do. Sustainment. You sustain the drive, so our defense then can relax after they crushed Eddie George in Tennessee. I don't know why they hated Eddie George so much. But shout out to Ray Lewis. But they sustained it. Your offense couldn't sustain it. And then TJ Watt's tired. Cam Ward's tired. Cam Hayward's tired. Joey Porter Jr. is tired. Your linebackers are tired. Everyone's tired. Alonzo Highsmith's injured. And you're like, we're tired. Can y'all at least stay on the field for longer, please? Y'all couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
And to respond to Reg's comment, Justin Fields is not struggling. He's not struggling. He only threw for 131, but he had no turnovers. He had 2 touchdowns. It's not that he's struggling. They need to open the playbook for him.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, we had George Pickens. There's drama going on with that. You need to throw the ball to George Pickens. We don't have a number 2 receiver. Calvin Austin's been playing okay. Van Jefferson has been up and down. So you need to use the tight ends as almost like a second receiver. You need to use Najee Harris as a second receiver, but you need to throw the damn ball to George Pickens. Okay. Now I understand that he's frustrated, so he's not running routes. He's not blocking. Cool. I understand that. But let's be honest with you. There's a lot of teams out there that would take George Pickens right now on their team to have a weapon like that.
Well, also, can we talk about too, Shug? Your second cornerback. Who is he? Your second cornerback.
Our second cornerback? Corner?
Corner, yeah.
Jack, the one that we traded from the Panthers. I believe
Dante Jackson, right?
Dante Jackson. Because you got JPP and Dante Jackson.
See, here's the problem. He made Jalen Tolbert look like he know how to play wide receiver. That's a problem. Because Jalen Tolbert, for the past 2 years, you talk about it on the show, Caleb's like, he's not that good. He's not. Shug just disappeared because he's not a big fan of Dante Jackson. He's not very good. We talked about, I'm not going to give up on the kid yet. I'm not going to give up on the kid yet. But he hasn't been that, impactful. He was very impactful in this game because he took advantage of Dante Jackson. Could this be a turning point for Jalen Tolbert? Maybe. But I don't know. Could it be that the corner he was against wasn't that good? You know what I mean? Like Carolina was okay with throwing him in the trade with for Dante Johnson. So we'll see about that. But I don't know. Jalen Tolbert had a great game. Jake Ferguson, Mr. Reliable, 6 catches, 70 yards, always good. CeeDee Lamb, 62 yards, 5 catches. But he had Joey Porter Jr. on him. So there's that. You said JPJ, So there's that. But Shug will be back, guys. Shug will be back. But we keep it rolling. Dallas had also, I think the weather changed the game. It changed the game a little bit. Also too, your body's ready for a 5 o'clock, they're on the East Coast, right? So it was an 8 o'clock start. It was an 8:20 start, 8:30 start. So your body's ready for that. And then they tell you got to wait an extra hour and a half, an hour. So you come back down, you come back down. So you got to relax. But then, they tell you, and then you got to get up. So you're already ramped up for 5:20, 5:30. You're wrapped up. You're ready to, fight. But then it brings you down. It brings you down. That's true. Yeah, that is little. Y'all were in the red zone a bunch of times. One of the interceptions that Dante Jackson was in the red zone. A lot of missed chances in the red zone. Dallas should have actually had more. Dallas was giving this game away. It's just that Pittsburgh couldn't take advantage. This reminds me of the Thanksgiving game against the Giants, where Dallas was giving the Giants every chance to win the game. And the Giants just didn't take it. They just didn't take it. They were just like, Dak threw 2 interceptions in that Thanksgiving game. It was a great pick by Julian Love. But then the very next drive, the Giants had a 3-and-out. So Dallas, they do this with a bunch. They do this a bunch of times, right? So like with teams that you find out if you're a bad team when you're against Dallas, because Dallas sometimes allows you to beat them. They give you chances to beat them a lot of times. The bad teams can't do it. The Giants a couple years ago on Thanksgiving, the Giants for the past couple years, this game right here, they give you the chances. And good teams take those chances and beat Dallas all the time. In the playoffs, certain regular season games, it happens all the time. But then, bad teams don't. Am I calling Pittsburgh a bad team? No, I don't think they're a bad team, but they're not as good as people think they are, because if they were, they would have taken Dallas's mistakes and turned them into a victory, but they couldn't. So there's still a level they need to unlock. Pittsburgh does. There's a level they need to unlock. They're not there yet. Could it be that, yeah, you're right, you should open up the playbook? Absolutely. But guess who their offensive coordinator is? Arthur Smith. Last year, the entire NFL, everyone in the NFL fans, some NFL media members, they called him. He didn't know what the hell he was doing in Atlanta offensively. He was very conservative. He didn't put the ball in his best players' hands in Atlanta. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. He had Desmond Ridder as a quarterback, but you can, if you're a good offensive coordinator, you can create a way to win the game. So there's that. But I digress. Yes, Dallas was very lucky. They had a bunch of they should have lost this game. They should have lost this game because of the mistakes, the wasted chances in the red zone. People thought they were going to lose this game because their defense were missing two of their biggest pieces. DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons were not available. So they had to rely on, DeMarvin Overshown, Eric Kendricks, Mozzie Smith, Linval Joseph, Marshawn Nealon, the rookie, Chauncey Golston, Ozzie Odigizua. They had to rely on their depth that we talked about isn't as deep as it was because Dan Quinn took a couple of pieces to Washington with him. Dante Fowler, Dorrance Armstrong, Sam Williams tore his ACL. So that's 3 pass rushers you don't have on top of losing DeMarcus and Micah. So that's 5 pass rushers that you had last year that would have helped you are not with you this year. So the depth isn't there anymore. And Suge's back. Suge, what's up?
My apologies. So yeah, kind of catching up on your conversation saying Dallas was missing a lot of their players. And yeah, rightfully so. It could have been a worse game for us. But you play who you play on the field. Exactly. I see Rich say, Justin Fields doesn't seem to that he looks good in his offense. He's looked fine. He's efficient.
Arthur Smith, man. I keep telling everyone it's Arthur Smith.
But I don't even think it's Art. I honestly don't believe it's Arthur Smith because he's throwing the ball. He's efficient. He's made throws. He's not turning the ball over. I think he's had 8 touchdowns and 1 interception. What you're really saying is, well, Justin Fields isn't lighting the field on fire. He's not throwing for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, things like that. But nobody is. Nobody. Show me somebody right now. I think we at one point the highest person that threw over 300 yards was Kirk Cousins.
509.
And I think wasn't it and Andy Dalton maybe?
I think so.
Yeah, that's it. Pat Mahomes isn't throwing 300 yards. Lamar Jackson isn't throwing that much. Josh Allen maybe could have got close.
I know the problem.
But the scoring, not points. Reg, what is it that every team has that they're able to do? With the play action pass, they have a running game. We don't have a running game with Najee Harris. When Cordell Patterson was in there, he was ripping off 15, 20 yards. If we got that consistently, even 7 yards, if he's ripping off 7 yards, a second and 3 for Justin Fields is much easier than a 2nd and 9 or a 3rd and 3.
Dak did throw for 350 against you.
Okay, 350. Sorry. He's
throwing a couple of Ferris games, Dak.
But Ferris.
But no, I'm with you. I know why. Everyone talks about it. It's they've realized this, right? It's now become, people talk about how it's become a passing league, right? So the defensive coordinators are saying okay, cool. If we're doing passing, we're just gonna go back to cover 2 shell, split the field in half with my 2 safeties, play that way, and funnel the passing lanes, right? And then the reason cover 2 shell never, was always stopped because it was very simple how to stop it. It's very simple. Something the NFL teams don't have anymore. You lined up with your big hog mollies and you ran the ball.
Exactly.
So you couldn't do cover 2 shell like you wanted to, and the cover 2. Everyone's been talking about it. Mina Kimes, Dan Orlovsky, Ryan Clark. They talk about it on NFL Live. Everyone's been talking about what's the reason the NFL passing is down? It's because the defenses are playing cover 2, and they're basically telling you run the goddamn ball. I dare you. But the problem is NFL is so far now to the passing side. There's a lacking of running backs that you can line up. But the biggest problem too, Shug, it's not even the running backs. The offensive linemen aren't as good as they used to be. They're not. The guards especially, because guards now have to deal with aliens at defensive tackle and nose tackle now. who can. Back in the day, when you were a nose tackle or defensive tackle, they wanted you to hold up the line, stop the run. You get a sack here and there, cool. That's nice. But most of the time, you're not John Randall, you're not Warren Sapp, so we really didn't expect you to get a sack. But if you're just a solid run-stuffing defensive tackle, that was nice. But now these defensive tackle nose tackles are like, nah, I'm going to go get 10 sacks, 12 sacks a season, 20 sacks a season if I want it. Plus, I'm going to give you 80 tackles. And you're like, who's this alien that's being created? Who's this Aaron Donald, Derek Brown, Dexter Lawrence, Christian Jones? Now, guards are like, we have to worry about the pass rush and the run stopping defensive tackle. And that's the biggest problem why people can't stop the run. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And again, right now I'm looking at Justin Fields' numbers. He has 961 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or sorry, yeah, 1 interception. So he's a little bit below the middle of the pack. But let's also be honest too, when, like you said, Arthur Smith, they haven't opened up the throwing game because of the offensive line and the running game.
Mm-hmm.
A great passing offense has a good running game that to protect, to give them time, to keep these edges off of them, to keep nose tackles off of them. The problem is Pittsburgh doesn't have that. Their line is hurt. Okay, so Justin Fields, they have to make. So they either got to say Justin Fields.
Didn't they start two new offensive linemen on Sunday?
They started 2 new offensive linemen. There's a rookie. I think some. How do you say his name? You know what I'm talking about. From the
Isaac
Seumalo. He's come back. Okay. Yeah. But you either to protect Justin Fields, you say, okay, we're going to do quick passes. So if it's not there, you go. You either run, you dump it down. What you don't sit in the pocket. Okay, that's going to affect it. The fact that we can't run the ball. Okay, and the fact that we really only have one receiver. Arthur Smith has to be able to utilize these tight ends and the running back in the passing game for us to be successful. And again, like Leo was saying, Dallas got very lucky because they had a lot of turnovers. They missed a lot of stuff. And that was our defensive causing that problem. But on the flip side, the offense couldn't take advantage of that. We couldn't do anything, And Justin did miss some throws. Don't get me wrong. So, do you bring Russ in who's comfortable making those throws and who can do that? We'll see. I like what Fields has done, but at the same time, there are throws out there that he's missing that would give us big plays and would help us out. Because like you say, it's about sustaining a drive, and we're not able to sustain drives, and it's becoming a problem, and it's hurting our defense because now defensive players are getting hurt because they're out there for so long. So
yeah, because also shout out to what Leo said. The reason Dak's second in passing is that they also can't run the ball. So this was actually quite. So you see, back-to-back weeks, Dallas did something that they're not anomalies. Last week against the Giants on Thursday, they stopped the run. Giants had 26 yards rushing. This week, they ran the ball. So are these blips on Dallas's radar, or are they the beginning of sustained success? Because I don't understand what happened with the Giants. They just couldn't run the ball. But then like the following week, they ran all over Seattle. So we'll see about that. So that's the key right there. Is it sustained success for them? We'll see. We'll see about it.
Do you think that had they been playing any other competent team that had some kind of competent offense, Dak throws 2 interceptions, that they win that game?
No, they lose this game because when you were out, I told you. I said this. This is how the barometer of like if you're a bad team or a great team is Dallas, right? Because Dallas sometimes gives bad teams or teams chances to beat them, and the great teams beat them. I talked about the Thursday night game on Thanksgiving when they were against the Giants, right? That year, they beat the living snot of the Giants early in the season, right? But then on Thanksgiving, they gave the Giants a chance to beat them. Dak did not play well. They were not playing well. They basically gave the game to the Giants on a silver platter. But the Giants were bad that they couldn't take the mess ups Dallas gave them and turn them into wins. Julian Love had an interception against Dak. and he brought it back to the 50, and the Giants were at the 50, and the Giants didn't score on that drive. So I'm not saying Pittsburgh's a bad team because they couldn't capitalize on Dallas' mistakes. You're just not. I think Pittsburgh's
a bad offense. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know. I hold on. I don't think Pittsburgh's a bad offense. I think we have a bad offensive line and a running back that can't get yards. Yeah, again, I said last week. Najee Harris was averaging 1.7 yards per rush. That is wild, Ferris.
Also, too, Shug. You guys tried to. You guys have had a great track record of drafting and integrating wide receivers that you want and like getting rid of people you don't want to pay. You got rid of Dante Johnson, right? But you guys didn't replace him. Now it's just George. It's George and a bunch of dudes.
Well, we tried to replace him with Van Jefferson. We did try to make a play for Ayuk, which I think we just got played. That was just, we got played on that one. Mm-hmm. And then now we're trying to see about getting Adams from the Raiders.
Yeah.
About the Adams. I don't know if that's going to happen. So we should have been looking around. But again, okay, work with what you got. You have a pretty good tight end in Pat Freiermuth. You have George Pickens. You have serviceable wide receiver threes and Calvin Austin and Van Jefferson. Mm-hmm. You need to utilize the tight ends more so that way it can open up for because if you're throwing to the tight end, you're able to open up the running game and then you can open up the down the field shots. But they're not doing that. Arthur Smith is not opening the playbook for Justin Fields because when Justin Fields is thrown, again, you go look at his track record right now this year. He hasn't made a lot of mistakes. He's missed some throws. I will say that, yes. But he hasn't made mistakes. And that's the big thing is him avoiding mistakes. And he hasn't done it. So then you need to capitalize that. You need to throw this ball down the field and throw the ball down the field and get the ball to your best playmaker. And we're not doing that. So in a game like this where you should have won it and your running back is not producing like you need to get it to your playmakers, and you also need to get it to people that can move, that you, like you said, can sustain the drive. They should have been throwing the Pat Freiermuth because you threw the Pat Freiermuth, you threw the Cam Hayward. What happened? Touchdowns. Okay. Connor. Why didn't we keep going to that? Why weren't we sticking with that? Because we're trying to run the ball, and look what happened. So at the end of the day, I think Pittsburgh, they needed to make a trade to try to get a wide receiver because after these next couple of games, we hit the worst gauntlet ever. Whoever made our schedule, it hates us. But we play all the AFC North at the back end of the year. We play the Eagles. We play the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, imagine that first. Like, imagine playing all your division rivals
and
the back end.
Yeah, and you have the Commanders as well.
And the Commanders, who are playing good.
Yeah, so you have the Commanders. So here the games after Dallas, the immediate 3 games after Dallas. Raiders, Jets.
Those are 2 winnable games. We should win those. Games.
You have the Giants on Monday night.
That's a sweep. We're killing it.
All right, let's calm it down here. Let's calm it down. Okay. That's not winnable. Also, too, it's a personal.
It's beyond winnable.
No.
It's beyond winnable.
It's also winnable for us as well.
It's guaranteed. It's a guarantee.
Let's not act like it's not winnable for us. Also, too, there's a little spice on that game because the Rooneys and the Maras are connected. A Rooney.
Yes, fair. So tell us all about this connection. Go ahead. Come on.
Oh no, just one of the Rooneys married a Mara. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Leo, what are you doing? You know that's not true.
Thank you, Leo. Appreciate it. Leo, also, too, Kate Mara and Rooney Mara.
No, I do not. But tell me about them, Paris.
Well, they're the offsprings of the Rooney Mara connection.
Oh,
so they're connected to both NFL franchises. So they have a piece of both franchises. So there's them, So shout out to Kate and Rooney,
Shout out to them.
Yeah, but then you have the Commanders.
Hey, can you support this show?
Yeah, support the show, guys. You have the Commanders, the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, the Browns, the Eagles, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bengals. So it's just gonna be World War IV.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And this is why we needed this Colts and Cowboys game. Mm-hmm. Winnable games because the next 2 games I think are winnable. Giants, I think we're going to win. So you're looking at 6-2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If we win these two games that we should have won, even just the Dallas one, we're 7-1. And now we go in the gauntlet. But you're 7-1 and you have confidence. Like, yo, we can beat these teams. Bengals don't look that great. Cleveland looks like crap. The Ravens look like the Ravens right now, even though they're 3 I think they're 3-3 or 3-2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're up and down. So you be walking into those games, 7-1, 6-2, with confidence. And now we're walking into these games like, who should our quarterback be? What's going on with our wide receiver? What's going on with our running backs? What's going on with our offensive line? Is our defense getting tired? Is our defense really that good? You're walking in with all these questions, and that's when losing streaks happen. So hopefully Coach Tomlin can get these guys in the right direction, because they have 2 games that they can do it in this Raiders and Jets game. Get going in the right direction again and start building that confidence, because you have a gauntlet coming up. It's going to be tough the second half of the season. So this is where it starts. You have to win this game against the Raiders. You have to beat the Jets. You have to beat the Giants, and you got to walk into the second half 6-2, ready to. And realistically, you should beat the Commanders. So you need to walk into this 7-2, and because it's going to be a grind. Pittsburgh has a great record right now against the Ravens. The Bengals have a better record versus us lately, but we've beaten them. The Browns, they're always going to be the doo-doo Browns. Okay.
Browns.
So the Eagles don't look that great. So things are looking up, but it's still tough. But you gotta win these next 3 games. You gotta change the culture of this season around with these 3 games. Either open up the playbook, trade for a wide receiver, or get one of our running backs back and have them start running the ball. Because apparently Najee Harris doesn't want to run the ball anymore. I don't know what's going on with him. We talked about it. Is it injuries? Is it something? I don't know. But you were playing against the worst run defense this Sunday, and you ran for 47 yards.
She was better than the Giants when they only got 26.
What is that?
Yeah.
So
you needed more. Yeah. But now let's move on to the other team in blue. The New York Giants had a dramatic victory against the Seattle Seahawks. It was towards the end of the game, I believe. I believe it was a minute 05 in the game. And let me double check. I want to double check it. Double
check it.
So yeah, it was a minute 05 at the end of the game. It was 4th and 4. It was a 47-yard field goal for Jason Myers. And the Giants block it. They block it. They were up 3. This is, Jason Myers was perfect on the day. He was already 2 for 2. It was going to be his 3rd field goal. If he makes it, we go to overtime. Actually, the Giants had 55 seconds. They had a chance to win maybe, but they probably would have went to overtime. But the Giants were like, no overtime for us. Isaiah Simmons jumps over the offensive line and just bats the ball down. In the process of batting the ball down, he then shoulder checks Jason Myers, because you are a football player at the end of the day, Jason Myers, even though you're a kicker. But the ball then rolls, and you see number 88, who is West Virginia's own Bryce Ford Wheaton, shout out to the homeboy Monty, scoops it up, scores the touchdown, and takes it all the way to the end of the game, and we win the game. That the game-clinching game. I was calling play-by-play for that game. There's a short on our channel of me calling the game of that. There's that. Go on the channel, look at the short. Hope you guys have fun. At one point, Shug, I'm just like this. I stopped talking. It's
that's
just
rare.
silence.
And that's
it's
rare.
just silence, because I'm like, we're gonna go to OT. We're probably gonna lose this game, because we were dominating this game.
I said you would. Remember I said you would, and then you
what?
Said there,
I said we would lose this game. And you know what? I'm gonna start saying we're gonna lose every week. Every week, I'm gonna find a reason we're gonna lose, and we're gonna win the game, because I assume that You didn't want to get into a back and forth with the three receivers and, Geno Smith and the two running backs. But then something happened, Shug, that I can't believe I forgot. You can have the fancy weapons as much as you want, Shug. The two running backs and Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, the three, big time wide receivers and, JSN and DK and Tyler Lockett. When your offensive line ain't protecting you, you ain't got a shot to win the game. And that's where we won the game right there in the trenches, which is crazy to me to say, because last year, back-to-back weeks against Dallas and Seattle, like last year, game one against Dallas, like this year's game one against Dallas. Last year's game one against Dallas, we gave up 9 sacks. It was rainy. Daniel Jones played awful. The Giants were horrible. There's a photo of him on the bench. His head, like I always say, his head was in his hands after giving, and it was just a bad offensive performance. Then it was Monday night against Seattle last year. Seattle broke the sack record against us. They broke our sack record, by the way. The sack record we set against Philly. We sacked Donovan. Yeah, we sacked Donovan McNabb 11 times. OCU Manura had 5 of them. It was great to see. Shout out to Donovan McNabb. You still suck. All right. What do you want from me? I'm not going to ever respect an Eagle. It's whatever. So we had 11 sacks against Donovan. They had 12.
So you don't respect Saquon Barkley?
Well, it's a little complicated with him. It's a little complicated. There's only one Eagle I've ever liked. One Eagle. Only one Eagle. Like, like when they ask you the question, Shug, what's
Owens?
Okay, no. Absolutely not.
It was Terrell, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Terrell. It was Wolverine. It was Weapon X. Shout out to Weapon X. So that was him. When they ask you, like, name someone on your rival team that you really appreciate, it was always Brian Dawkins. I'm still trying to find one on Dallas. I haven't found one over my 15 years of being a fan. Washington has always been London Fletcher. Big fan of London Fletcher. I hate London Fletcher so much, but I'm also a big fan of London Fletcher. Shout out to London Fletcher. I hope his family's week. So all thoughts and prayers to London Fletcher. I hated that you played for the Commanders, and you always tortured me, but I appreciated your game, my guy. But yeah, man. So they broke the sack record on Monday night last year. And I'm like, yo, man, let's see if this is going to happen again. Nope. We gave up 2 sacks. 2 sacks. Only 2 sacks. So it went from 12 sacks to 2 sacks this year. And it shows you the improvement of the offensive line. Literally. Like, you could see it, the improvement of the line. I just want to double check it, man, like sacks. We gave up 3. But also the biggest problem last year, Shug, against Seattle, Shug, they lost all their offensive linemen. Literally. Monday night, they were coming in, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, they were talking about, can this Seattle defensive line hold up? They were already on their backups during the Monday night game. Then they lost their backups as the Monday night game going. They had to move a tackle to guard, and they had to move a guard to center, and they had to move a center to guard. So it was a mishmash of like offensive line last year on Monday night. Last year, this year it was slightly better, And our defensive line said, "We're better than them. What are we doing?" Dexter Lawrence.
It is Seattle.
Exactly. Dexter Lawrence was like, "Connor Williams? You ain't gonna stop me." And they didn't. They didn't stop him. He was everywhere. He had, I think, 3.5 sacks this game. Let me double check it. Dexter Lawrence the third. He had 3 sacks. He had 3 sacks. He was everywhere. 4th down. It's 4th and 1, Shug. Brian Burns makes a play. The strip sack against Deshaun Watson. The 4th and 1 against Geno Smith. He shows up in big moments. Can I get more sacks out of him? Possibly. We're about to see. He should, because he has Dexter Lawrence in the middle. And unfortunately, he doesn't have Kayvon Thibodeau anymore. Because big news coming out of this game, Kayvon Thibodeau broke his wrist.
Ouch.
And he had surgery on it.
Cast it up. You ain't need that wrist.
Well, hand's a little different. If you break your hand, you can play, but your wrist is a little different. Your wrist is a little different. He's day to day, which means, or week to week. I don't know, which honestly, we don't know what that means anymore nowadays.
It means he's going to probably play with the cast.
Probably. Well, we'll see. We'll see. He also had a couple sacks in the game. He had half a sack, but he had like 3 half a sacks, to be honest with you. Brian Burns had a sack. DJ Davis had 2 sacks. The backup defensive tackle having 2 sacks. Andre Patterson is a magician. He is changing this defensive line, and they said we are better. We are better. Tay Banks. Last week, Jerome Henderson called him out. Say, yeah, man, he played horrible against Dallas. It was unacceptable. Don't like the effort. What was that? He saw what we saw, where CeeDee Lamb just ran in a curve. He didn't even run a route. He ran in a curve and scored a touchdown. So if I was Jerome Henderson, I'd be like, what the hell was that? And he called out Tay Banks.
Don't worry. The Giants are going to go back to normal when they play Pittsburgh.
Well, we'll see about that, because you have no wide receivers. Okay. All right.
Okay.
We stopped the team with 3 wide receivers. You have George Pickens, who can't even.
Yeah, but their quarterback can't. Was Geno Smith really?
Really? We'll see. We'll see. We wrote back. Geno Smith wrote back. We wrote back Geno Smith today. By the way, coming into this game, Geno Smith was 4-0 against his former teams, which includes the Jets, the Giants, and the Chargers. He was 4-0. Now he's 4-1. Boom. Shakalaka. Put that on.
Boom.
But yeah, man, it was a great defensive performance. The defense is really coalescing. But enough of the defense. This offense. Shug, you want to talk about a catastrophic beginning to a game. The first play of the game, Shug, it's a fumble. It's a fumble. Daniel Jones fumbles the ball, and Andrew Thomas has to jump on it at the 5-yard line. But Shug, you right there should be like, oh my God, this series is dead on arrival, right? It's dead on arrival. The Giants then drive all the way to the 2-yard line after the fumble, and you're like, wow. But then they fumble the ball at the inch line because Eric Gray fumbles it. And Rashawn Jenkins, their free safety, corrals it and takes it back 101 yards. And you're like, what a horrible way to start the game. What a horrible way to start the game. Wow. But then the Giants then come back right on the field, right? They come right back on the field and they score a touchdown. They scored a touchdown. So the resiliency, they didn't give up. And the biggest key of the game was we ran it down their throats.
Ran it down their throats.
Tyrone Tracy Jr., TTJ, 18 carries, 129 yards, 7.2 yards a carry. Daniel Jones is no longer our leading rusher. I'm a big fan of Devin Singletary, but I need more Tyrone Tracy Jr., man, because this was a tremendous performance by Tyrone Tracy Jr. Just a tremendous performance. They realized that the defensive line of Seattle, they're not that scary, which is crazy to me because they had, Draymond Jones, they had Jerron Reed, Leonard Williams, Jonathan Hankins, and they were like, we don't care. Running right at you. That shows offensive line cohesion. John Runyon Jr., John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roten. You know what I mean? The guard and the centers, that's the key. That's the key right there. And that's all due to assistant offensive line coach James Ferentz, who is, fun fact, Kurt Ferentz's son. There it is right there, man. It was tremendous game. No notes. We were good.
Adelia, I was gonna ask him the same questions.
I'm not actually wearing sunglasses. These are prescriptions. This is a tint that helps my eyes improve. Nice.
I saw their Oakleys. I saw you big timing it now.
Yeah, it's they're I had to tint them because of some sensitivities, But yeah, the Giants looked great, man. Daniel Jones had a great game. He played good. I can't, because last year against Seattle, we lost the game because of him. It was his fault. He telegraphed certain games. He telegraphed that horrible interception against Devin Witherspoon. Not this time around. Darius Slayton, 8 catches, 122 yards, and a touchdown. So that's tremendous. Wando Robinson had a touchdown pass, caught. So there's that. Jalen Hyatt, my biggest question is Malik Neighbors is injured. They ruled him out of this week's game. So he's not playing. I don't understand the Jalen Hyatt. I don't understand it. I get that they said his route tree wasn't developed at Tennessee because they literally just told him to run straight, and it makes sense. And you can't really run straight in the NFL like that. But he didn't even get a sniff. They didn't even look his way. He did have a great play on the touchdown for Darius Slayton where it was crossers. It was mesh crossers. So they're crossing, and Julian Love overplays to his side, and then Darius Slayton just runs past Trey Brown and touchdown Darius Slayton. So there's a great way of doing that. But overall, it was a great game by Daniel Jones. He did put his body on the line on certain runs. He pulled it a couple times, and he did a couple QB draws, shook, and he ran down the field, and he shoulder checked a couple people. He shoulder checked a defensive tackle that had to be looked at by medical afterwards. He hits him. They both fall to the ground. Jones pops up right away, and the defensive lineman's like, still no shot. I hope he's okay. Hope he's okay. But Daniel Jones, man, is he the future? No, he's not. He's the present right now, and he played a good game. I'm not gonna say anything about him. With him, it's a game.
Why not? Say so. I want you to say something about him.
He had a good game. He did. It's 23-34, 256, 2 touchdowns. He added 38 yards rushing. He had a solid game. Good game for him. He played great. Giants win. So there's that. If this year's QB class, it's been a lot of question marks. Some people say it's bad. Some people say you don't know what you're talking about. Are we going to be in the vicinity of getting one? Probably not. A lot of Giants fans want Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. You have Milroe, Tracy, Malik. So there's that. But are we going to be in the same vicinity to get Jalen Milroe? We don't know. But, it is what it is. Are we going to win too many games? I think we may win too many games to be in the top 10 of the NFL draft. I feel like this team's going to win a game that they shouldn't win more than once. So there's that. The Giants had played a great game. The defensive line created havoc. Dexter Lawrence created havoc. Me and Bronny get into this argument all the time. He thinks Derek Brown's better. I don't agree with him. He said Derek Brown had 100 tackles in one season. I'm like, good for him. It's whatever. Dexter Lawrence is still better. So, that'll be the thing. But then, we really should, focus on the powers of Chris Jones. But, we'll probably lose that battle because Chris Jones is pretty good. But it is what it is. But, man, Giants had a great game. Great game by the Giants. Theo Johnson, the rookie. Here's the thing, Shook. Another problem with the Giants is they're tight ends. Daniel Bellinger's rookie year, he was basically a featured player in that season. Prior to, Jacksonville trying to gouge his eye out, he was the key to the offense. They ran 3 tight ends. He was the all-around tight end. Then you had Tanner Hudson and Chris Myrick, who's the blocking tight end. But it was Daniel Bellinger had a great year. But now Daniel Bellinger is on the bench, and Theo Johnson's the starting tight end, the rookie out of Penn State. And a lot of people be looking at Theo Johnson saying he's just big and athletic. He showed some promise in this game. He showed some promise in this game. But we'll see if he can improve it. We'll see more. Because we have the worst tight end units in the NFL. The tight ends are a black hole for the New York Giants. Just nothing happens. But we'll see how the season comes along for Theo Johnson. So there's that as well. But now, start previewing next week, Shug. We can't, we'll preview Dallas, because, this is a Dallas show. Dallas Giants show.
Okay. Can we go to sleep? Can I go to bed?
We're also going to preview Pittsburgh as well. So let's talk about Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh has the
Well,
Raiders.
it's against the Raiders. It's against every Cholo in California's favorite team, and I think it's in Vegas again. Unfortunately, I will not be able to go there.
Man. I don't know what you're talking about. There's some Cholo Niners fans. Okay,
And there's some Cholo Cowboys fans.
that's true. So like, let's
Shout out to the Cholos.
shout out to them. We don't want to get
Um, it's in Vegas again. Vegas is not a good team. I think they're even starting. They're not even starting Minshew. They're starting somebody else.
Aiden O'Connell. They're starting Aiden O'Connell now.
So this defense should be able to get to him. The question is again, is our offense?
Yes.
You need to open up the playbook. You have Max Crosby
better than their defense. All they have is Max Crosby.
Yeah, but Max Crosby can take over a game. Justin Fields has to play smart with his ball. So you with the ball. So you need to wide receiver running back screens. Use the tight end, quick passes. Okay, and let's get out of here with the win. Wilson's not going to play. Wilson's not going to play unless Fields goes out there and like kind of what happened with Mitch Trubisky and he's just not playing well.
Just bad.
Then you put in Wilson, but I don't think you do that. I think he again. If you looked at his numbers, like compare him to Kenny Pickett. Pickett had a Mitch Trubisky before he got benched for Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mitch hadn't thrown any touchdowns, and then Kenny came in and didn't throw any touchdowns. He scored, I think, 2 when he first against the Jets or whoever, but he wasn't doing anything. You know, Justin Fields had 5 touchdowns, throwing touchdowns, and he has like 3 rushing. He has 8 touchdowns. You know, you should be fine. You know, you got to play smart. You got to open up the playbook for him, and you got to do some things to help him. Okay, defensively, we should be able to shut this offensive down. But again, like Ferris said earlier, sustainability. You got to be able to sustain drives. Would I love touchdowns? Absolutely. But if you could drive, get 3 points, I'll feel okay. So I don't think the Raiders have the ability to score on us. But you got to be able to sustain drives. And that's what it's going to come down to. So we'll see what happens. I think we should win this game. I'll think it's 2013. I'll say 2013.
2013?
Yeah.
I'm going to go 24-10.
24-10, okay.
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
The Raiders are just bad, man. They're bad. Their star receiver is giving up on them. They've moved on from him. Antonio Pierce may be out of his depth. This is why sometimes you don't hire the interim coach after you fired the main coach, because the interim coach bump. You know what I mean? Happens all the time, and then sometimes it was just funny to me because they didn't do this for Rich Bisaccia, who took them to the playoffs, by the way. But they did it for Antonio Pierce. So we'll see. We'll see how it is. Antonio Pierce may not be long for this world in the NFL. You know what I mean? If he doesn't turn around the ship. But then, the Raiders could be like, we gave him Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. What is he supposed to do with that anyway? Y'all should win. Y'all should win big. Because this, but then here's the thing too, Shug. Aiden O'Connell dropped 70 points on the Chargers last year. I know the Chargers weren't that good, but 70? 70? That's insane. But
was he with the Raiders?
He was with the Raiders. They beat them 70-31. But then the thing is here.
If he drops 70 on us on this Sunday, call suicide watch on me, okay?
Okay, all right.
If he drops 70.
But that's the thing I'm trying to tell you is you're not as bad as the Chargers last year. So that's not going to happen. No. So I don't think they're going to drop 70, because I don't think they've regressed as well, because they also lost Josh Jacobs, right? They have Zamir White and I think Brandon Bolden as their running backs. Their receivers don't really scare nobody. Their best offensive players right now are their 2 tight ends and Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. That's it. The big tight ends. And they don't really use Michael Mayer anymore. They just completely disregard him now, and they just use Brock Bowers, who's, he was the best. Some people say he was the best player in the draft last year, but the problem is he played tight end. You know what I mean? So that's why he fell. It happens all the time where the best
Oh,
player.
Travis Kelce's a tight end.
I know, but in the draft, you got to prioritize, wide quarterbacks and
No, I get what you're saying.
receivers and linemen, right? But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there are some draft experts who say the best player in this draft, it's not Caleb, it's not Jaden Daniels, it's the tight end Brock Bowers. He's the best, player. Tight ends have finally gotten some love in the NFL draft. You know what I mean? Shout out to Kyle Pitts for changing that. Too bad Kyle Pitts was, drafted by a football terrorist and Arthur Smith who didn't know how to use him. You know what I mean? So there's that. But you guys should win this. 24-10.
I had such a comment for that. I had such a comment for that.
Don't do it. Don't do it, man.
I'm trying not to.
Let's do it. Let's move over, right? Lions Cowboys. This is in Dallas. I believe Leo's probably going to watch this game live because he is in Dallas, I think.
Yeah, him and Caleb. Yeah, shout out to your good friend, better rival. See, I'm a okay friend. Your only rival.
Well, guests here. We find out are they a good friend or are they a better rival? You know what I mean? We found out Hendo's a better rival. Rodney's a better rival.
I'm definitely a better rival.
Rodney's a better rival. Jose's a good friend.
Shout out.
Yeah, Adelia is a good friend, and I think you're a good friend.
Oh,
yeah,
I appreciate it.
Rival thing, because there's no real rivalry between me, you, and Caleb, and then even in our teams there's no really rivalry. Even though your guys' rivalry dates back to the 70s, and they started showing clips of the 70s and the Super Bowls. Yeah, but that that rivalry of a certain age, Cowboy and Steelers fans, means something. But a modern day fan doesn't really care about that.
Yeah. No, we don't have a rivalry in football. We have a rivalry in WNBA, basketball, baseball, everything else, but not in football.
We don't have a baseball rivalry.
You're the Yankees, I'm the Dodgers.
Yeah, but that rivalry is not it's not the 70s. It's not even like the 50s. It doesn't exist anymore, really. Yeah,
we'll see.
We hate each other, but it's not really a rivalry.
That's what I say. Hating someone is a rivalry.
That's a good point. Too bad you're probably gonna lose to the Padres.
We'll
see about that.
At least we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Damn, they slacked you, then you slacked them. That's game 5 is gonna be crazy. When's game 5? Is it today?
This is 5:00. So I want to hurry up. So I can because I gotta work and I want to watch that.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it later. My homie's a Padres fan, so I hope she's okay. She was very distraught. Game 4.
Because game 3 they beat the hell out of us.
Yeah, exactly.
So game 4.
But yeah, let's digress. Lions Cowboys.
Yeah.
Lions actually have a little revenge factor in this. Because last year, the week they were against the Cowboys, home field advantage was on the line. They needed to beat the Cowboys to get it. They didn't get it. And it was the controversy of the offensive lineman didn't identify himself. That case, even though the Detroit Lions say, yes, we did identify ourselves, you're an imbecile. They basically called the ref an idiot and a charlatan. And then Dallas wins. Lions don't get home field advantage. They end up having to go to I was about to say Candlestick. They have to go to Levi's instead of playing NFC Championship game in Detroit.
And that's in Detroit. They definitely win that game.
Yeah, exactly. They're up 30-0 in Detroit. It's over, man. Like, come on, dog.
Yeah.
So there's a little revenge factor about it. And I'm going Detroit with the solid running backs. Here's the thing, man. The ref. The ref got it wrong. Detroit said we told you, and Tyler Decker told you, everyone told you, and you still got it wrong. And the ref screwed up. This ref screwed up.
I just realized, Ferris, that needs to be a shirt made for you. That should be your catchphrase. Let me tell you, man. That should be your catchphrase. That should be your catchphrase.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something.
That should be
we should make that.
Write it down.
Write it down and put it on a t-shirt. I was gonna make a t-shirt that said "put it on a t-shirt." Get it? Because everyone's be like, "Put it on a t-shirt." But yes, I'm going Lions. The 2 running backs. are solid. They have the best offensive line in all of football. Dallas is missing Michael Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence still. We don't know if they're healthy enough this week, but even though they're healthy enough, I'm still going the Lions because that offensive line is solid.
And they got the running backs to run against them.
Yeah, exactly. They have the running backs to run against, and they're big offensive linemen who can drown out Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is a great pass rusher, but he's small still, and he can get washed out by big offensive linemen. And Taylor Decker's big, Penei Sewell's huge, Frank Ragnow, you name it, they'll wash you out. So I'm going with Dallas. Jared Goff was perfect last week. Like he was 18 for 18, caught a touchdown, threw a touchdown. It was crazy. I'm going Lions to beat Dallas. I'm gonna go 31-20. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I got the Lions too. I think it's gonna be like I said, the thing that Pickford should have done against the Dallas Cowboys was run the ball. So I think the Lions are just going to run all over them, control the clock, control the pace of the game. I don't think it's going to be that high of scoring. So I'm going to say it's going to be 21. I'm going to go 20. Actually, I'm going to go 24-17.
Okay. Now let's move it over. Giants, Sunday night against the Bengals. Giants, momentum. They just beat Seattle. They should have beaten Dallas. The Bengals coming off of that shootout against the Ravens. So let's see. The biggest key here is this. Cincinnati's back end, their cornerbacks, their back line, bad. Giants don't have the receivers, that can take advantage of it. Or maybe they do because Darius Slayton, he's very fast. Joe Burrow, though, has T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Zach Moss, Jamar Chase, Eric All. I can't believe I just said that. Forget Eric All. Who the hell is Eric All? Tanner Hudson. But it's more Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And Andre Ivosivas, the Princeton wide receiver.
Only you would know that.
Well, come on. We tried to draft him in the draft that we actually. I'm going to go Giants.
No.
I'm not going to go Giants.
Yeah, you go Bengals.
I'm going to go Cincinnati.
There you go.
I'm going to go Cincinnati, and I'm going to go shootout. Yeah, I'm going to go shootout again because their defense is not very good. Their offense is very good, so the offense may score a lot of points. I'm going to go Cincinnati. 31-24. Let's go with that.
Well, I said Daniel Jones is going to throw for 500 yards. He threw for half. So I'm on the right track. So I think he's going to do it again. I think he's going to throw another 2-something. But I think they're going to come up short on a last-minute field goal by the Bengals.
Yeah.
And I say 24-27.
Giants are going to win. No, Cincinnati's going to win. Cincinnati's going to win. That's right. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. That the reverse jinx. So but at the end of the day, it's been a great week of football to be quite honest with you. I don't hate myself after Sunday. Also too, that Sunday. Thank you for reminding me, Shook. Appreciate you. Even though you didn't, but I'm gonna give you the credit anyway. Sunday night football, I'll be doing play-by-play for the game. So come by and swing by and watch me call the game against Cincinnati. So that's gonna be what's gonna happen. So appreciate you guys. But on that note, everyone, Shook, where can people find you?
Well, first off, Ferris, I want to say thank you very much for being a good friend. It's always a pleasure when you invite me onto your show, and I have a great time with you and Caleb for last time. So I really appreciate you inviting me on. Make sure to check out Ferris on Sundays when he is calling the game. It's a fun thing to watch. It's a fun thing to watch this man almost have a heart attack on camera. And just how he speaks and how he presents himself is a great time. So make sure you check him out. But with me, you can find me right here where it's scrolling. Suge Knight 323, TikTok, Twitter, and TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Suge Knight 1323. Look at that, perfectly timed on Twitch. I haven't been doing too much Twitch because I've just been super busy, but I will be back on gaming some more. once I have time. So come hang out with me. Once again, Ferris, thank you for letting me on and hanging out with us. Everybody in the chat, thank you very much. Appreciate all of you guys being here and listening to me and Ferris rant about a sport that we grew up loving and still love until this day.
Right. Thank you guys ever so much. You guys make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Every Giants game this season, I will be doing play-by-play for it. So I'll be doing play-by-play for the Monday night game against Pittsburgh in a couple weeks. So there's that as well. So make sure to do that. Also too, appreciate everyone for the support. Also too, we're switching over from Patreon to Coffee. Go to coffee.com/LJ_network. $3 gets you into our Discord, and we have it's just like Patreon. It's tiered. It goes 3, 5, 10, 15, 25. $10 gets you on exclusive watch-alongs, and then you get an appearance on our post-credits episode where we give the immediate reactions of what we just watched. We just had Agatha all along. Justin did it with Coffee members Greg and Brandy. They also watch that, as well as some members can just do the watch along. They don't even have to show up on post credits if they don't want to. They can just do the watch along. $15 gets you into our fantasy football league. So there's that. We had and also too, you're able to show up on our fantasy football roundup on that tier. Yesterday we did a live edition with none other than one of our co-hosts of Playoff Beards, Ryan Christensen. He back-to-back victories of this week. He actually beat me this week in fantasy, so I decided to have him on to talk about my pain and suffering. Also too, $25, basically become a producer on the show. You get to show up on any show of your choosing once a month. Any show of your choosing once a month.
I might do that.
Or recommend a show once a month of a topic. For example, 1 month, Brandy decided to say, I want Ferris and Justin to talk about soap operas. And me and Justin have a 30-minute video where me and him talked about soap operas. You name it. Days of Our Lives, The Bold and the Beautiful, The Young and the Restless, General Hospital.
There you go.
Sands of Time, you name it. And then it went on a full-fledged conversation. Actually, the conversation took, it was a week-long conversation where I ended up deciding to tell Brandy, I'm going to start watching soap operas. And then I found out they're every day.
Yeah, soap operas every day. Ferris, you didn't have the mom that when you stayed home sick, you watched like 4 or 5 soap operas in a row through a day?
Nah, see, here's the thing, Shug. I'm Arab, and my mom put on Turkish shows.
You know what you should really do? Honestly, this should be an idea. You should do this with Caleb. Y'all should watch Telemundo. Those kind of soap operas, the Mexican, and just do the closed caption. Yeah. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Those get crazy.
No, it was crazy. Shout out to Telemundo. I remember watching movies on Telemundo, and it was always
they're not called Telemundo. That's just a show.
Telemundo's the channel.
What is it called?
Telenovelas.
Novellas, yes.
Yeah,
there you go.
Telenovelas, yes.
Telenovelas. There you go.
The soap, yes. So Telemundo's the channel. I grew up watching Telemundo because I was watching. There was the only time where I could watch like U.S. men's national team games. They're always on Telemundo. I couldn't. Yeah, it's like, and I lived in the Central Valley where Telemundo's based out of. It's based in Fresno, or Univision. No, Univision. Univision was based in Fresno. My bad. Yeah, okay. they were on Univision, not Telemundo. My apologies. But I think they're owned by the same people. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Why are we talking about Telemundo? It doesn't matter. But on that note, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day. Stay calm, stay cool. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.